What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NFL Week 15 top DFS picks. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for this week's NFL slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, NFL Week 15. Let's take a look at the quarterback position. I like Lamar Jackson from the Baltimore Ravens playing the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have the worst defense overall, and they give up the second most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson has averaged 22.8 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 10.4 rush attempts per game. He scored 38 and 27 fantasy points in the last two games, projected at 21.2 fantasy points here in Week 15. He's $7,500 DraftKings salary and $700 more on FanDuel. Now, even though Vegas thinks that the Baltimore Ravens are going to be ahead by 13 points in this game, this is a fantastic matchup. This guy's a man on a mission. It's time to start playing Lamar Jackson again. And don't worry about that injury last week. He was taken out of the game, but he was just cramping up. He came back in that game, ended up winning the game for the Baltimore Ravens. This guy's been on fire since coming back from the COVID-19 list, playing with desperation. So I like Lamar Jackson here versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, let's take a look at the running back position. Another player who's playing really well as of late, I like Jonathan Taylor from the Indianapolis Colts playing the Houston Texans, who have the third worst defense overall, and they give up the second most fantasy points to opposing running backs. Jonathan Taylor has averaged 15.2 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 14 rush attempts per game and 2.7 pass targets per game. He scored 34 and 23 fantasy points in the last two games, projected at 13.2 fantasy points here in Week 15. He's $7,200 DraftKings salary and $200 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 52.5 points scored in this game, with the Colts favored by 7. So you got a fantastic matchup, a running game script, a high scoring game, and a running back that's getting a ton of volume as of late. He got 20 rush attempts and 2 pass targets last game. So I like Jonathan Taylor here versus the Houston Texans. Real quick guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all the tools for NFL. NBA is right around the corner. This is a great time to get in and try everything for 1 month. The tools are all about saving research time. You can see the last 3 games, the fantasy points per game, the targets they got per game so you can see how involved they are in the offense, the rushes they got per game. Seeing all this stuff on one screen helps you save time and make better picks. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Okay, let's take a look at the wide receiver position. I like Allen Robinson from the Chicago Bears playing the Minnesota Vikings, who have the 10th worst defense overall, and they give up the second most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. Allen Robinson has averaged 18 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 9.9 pass targets per game. He scored 30, 14, and 27 fantasy points in the last 3 games, off of 13, 7, and 13 pass targets. So monster passing volume, excellent production. He's projected at 16.1 fantasy points here in Week 15. He's $7,400 DraftKings salary and $100 less on FanDuel. So I like that FanDuel price. Vegas thinks there's going to be 46 points scored in this game, with the Chicago Bears trailing by 3.5. So you got a great matchup and a passing game script. So I like Allen Robinson here versus the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, moving on to the tight end position. I like TJ Hockenson from the Detroit Lions playing the Tennessee Titans, who have the 7th worst defense overall, and they give up the 11th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. TJ Hockenson has averaged 12.4 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 6.8 pass targets per game. Take a look at his last 3 games. He scored 16, 15, and 14 fantasy points off of 11, 9, and 8 pass targets. He's projected at 12 fantasy points here in Week 15, and he's $5,200 DraftKings salary and $1,000 more on FanDuel. Now, Vegas thinks the Detroit Lions are going to be trailing by 10.5, so you got a good matchup and a passing game script. So I like TJ Hockenson here versus the Tennessee Titans. If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NFL slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.